According to several reports, there's some interest. Kyler Murray has some interest in playing for the Minnesota Vikings. Does not mean that the Vikings are sharing that same interest. So a lot needs to happen for this situation to unfold in the direction that some rumors are hinting at right now. But Kyler Murray's been one of the many quarterbacks we've been talking about going to play for Minnesota. And what would that mean for JJ if it did happen? What would it mean for the Vikings in general? What would it mean for the Cardinals? Clearly, it would spell that Brissett's the starter in Arizona, and that should be a no-brainer, but the Cardinals are the Cardinals. What will it all mean? We'll break it down and more. And again, I can't preface enough that there's no huge lean toward the Vikings making this move inevitably. It's just Kyler Murray. The news today is Kyler Murray would have interest in playing for the Vikings. That is the report. That is the end of the report. That is all there is to it. And we're merely here to not say the Vikings want this. We're here to say, what if the Vikings do want this? What would it mean? The Fantasy Football Show. Breaking news Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Every single Monday through Friday show begins right now. File on in.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios. It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
Kyler Murray is definitely a mixed bag. And let me start off by saying that I do believe there's a world where Kyler Murray could get rejuvenated. We can't forget Darnold. We can't forget Mac Jones. We can't forget Baker Mayfield, probably the king of, oh my God, this guy is so much better than he was for a long time. And also Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones, Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, Mac Jones are four examples of quarterbacks that in the wrong system with the wrong coaching and the wrong scenarios was not a good quarterback. We are literally about a year removed, 1 full year, well, 2 years, but 1 full year played, removed from this guy being somebody that people had, and we're all included. We're all somewhat guilty of, let's just call it 2 years ago, year and a half ago, thinking there was top 5 quarterback potential in Kyler Murray's play. And there certainly was. It's not like we were off and wrong and he didn't have the talent. He didn't deliver. He didn't play football like he's supposed to play football. His scheme did not fit him. He did not fit his scheme. This was definitely a situation where there's so much disappointment. We all pretend like there's no rebound for Kyler because we're so bent out of shape out of how he failed us in Arizona. This is, we saw the Vikings take Sam Darnold and turn him into a very good quarterback. We saw Sam Darnold get moved on recklessly by the Vikings, goes to Seattle, is a very good quarterback. Not elite, but he's very good. We've seen Danny Dimes play like trash in New York, goes over, and Daniel Jones plays amazing football in Indianapolis. We've seen Baker Mayfield bounce around to multiple teams, land with the Buccaneers. Liam Cohen made him an excellent quarterback. Not elite, but near damn seriously amazingly good quarterback play from Baker when Liam Cohen was there in 2024. 2025 is different, but I do believe Zach Robinson, now in Tampa, will also put Baker back on track to be a very damn good quarterback. Kyler Murray has a chance to be something better than he is right now. What is that? Top 5? No. I'm never going to put Kyler top 5 again. Can he dance with top 5 guys on occasion, like 1 week, then he goes back to number 8, number 3, 1 week because he runs a lot? Yeah, of course. He's a running quarterback. Running quarterbacks score a lot of points. This is a quarterback that has had significant success throwing the ball to a wide receiver and then recently not had significant success. In fact, he's been putrid, making wide receivers do anything. We do have to remember that he can laser lock onto players. Now, MHJ running go routes and Michael Wilson being underutilized and almost unrealized until Brissett got into the lineup in Arizona last year, and he tore it up. Michael Wilson to the motherfucking moon if Brissett's starter. And it does sound like this is where it's all going. We knew this was going to happen. Kyler's gone. He's as good as gone. The organization's made it abundantly clear. The only thing that could change this is if, they said, hey, LaFleur, what do you want? And he's like, I want to keep Kyler. They're like, okay. And we don't know that information yet. We were having some connectivity issues. Those watching the stream later won't see any kind of delay at all. But sorry about that 5 or 10 seconds of frozen Smitty. We should be back. Let me know if we're back. I'm pretty sure we are. But Kyler Murray is certainly somebody that I don't think succeeds in Arizona, even with a new staff. Nothing changes for me. I think his time is done here. I think he's got no confidence in Arizona. He needs to move on. The team doesn't believe in him. His work ethic is in question. And I don't believe that Kyler Murray is going to change the narrative about him in the way he probably feels about himself in Arizona. Change of scenery is required for Kyler to do well. If he went to Minnesota, I do want to say it's not my favorite choice. I want Mac Jones. I probably want Malik Willis. And then Kyler Murray starts getting into the conversation after that. Tua Tagovailoa, Kyler, what's better for fantasy? Tua's not going to win games, really, but he does throw a lot of yards, and that could be good in this system. What they've done with Darnold, maybe Tua looks better than Tua really is because of how this offense and staff can shape a quarterback in a passing attack. Could Kyler, same thing, go to Minnesota, be very, very different, be very, very sculpted in a certain way, and get the fresh, start to not have that negative vibe going on and he gets back on his horse? Certainly. And the thing about MHJ and Michael Wilson and the way Petzing used them with Kyler didn't work. It doesn't make Petzing bad. Petzing just didn't have a quarterback that was catering to his offense and being able to utilize it. And Kyler's he's just given up in Arizona. Is there a world where Kyler goes to Minnesota and throws the ball to JJ like crazy? Yes, because we saw McBride tear it up with Kyler at times. Granted, Brissett made McBride completely unlocked from the touchdown department and the yardage department, but we do know Kyler can throw the ball to one player. JJ's just got to run the kind of routes that Kyler Murray can see over the offensive line and execute upon. Because the wide receiver routes that Petzing's trying to run, downfield aerial attack, wasn't working with a quarterback that can't see over the offensive line. Kyler needs to get out of the pocket in order to throw the football down the field. Kyler Murray needs to travel outside the pocket, run to the right or the left side of the field, and McBride would oftentimes trail him and be in the middle of the field. Very easy target for Kyler to see. Kyler would throw it to McBride. That was a very good relationship, even though Brissett and McBride were better. No one's trying to argue that. But Kyler Murray, if JJ's in a position on the field to throw the football to, Kyler and JJ would connect. I think that Kyler Murray would be 2-3 times better than JJ McCarthy for Justin Jefferson production. Let me make that point abundantly clear. It doesn't mean I think Kyler's the best option. It is just a multiply it times 2 or 3. That's what we're getting with Kyler Murray in Minnesota versus JJ McCarthy in Minnesota. Kyler can move the football down the field. Kyler's ability to run and extend plays is certainly going to open up things for the pass. And as long as the Vikings do their job, which is the part that we can't predict, and gets JJ in a position to catch footballs from Kyler Murray in different ways than Petzing used Wilson and MHJ, where Kyler can't see over the offensive line, can't throw it downfield, across field to MHJ running a go route while Kyler's running to the other opposite side of the field, unable to see over the line like they're a big pile of oleanders, and Kyler's jumping up and trying to see. Those were never going to connect. MHJ was stretching the field and making space for McBride to catch that football across the middle of the field. And that's what JJ's going to have to be doing, is running in places where Kyler can connect with him. That is really the solution. So my whole thinking here is trying to prepare you guys that if Kyler does land in Minnesota, it's not doom and gloom. It's not ideal. It's not the best option. There are at least 2 quarterbacks that are available in Malik Willis and also in potentially Mac Jones in a trade that would be far better options than Kyler Murray. But Kyler Murray is 10 times, we said 2 or 3, maybe 10 times better than the situation we were handed last year, because that made JJ be completely non-existent. Now, That said, do I feel like Kyler's the best fit for Minnesota? I kind of think Minnesota will kick the tires on this situation, but I don't think Kyler fits the bill here. I don't think Kyler is the type of drop back passer that this Viking staff is looking for. I believe that they're looking for their Darnold replacement. They should, if they could go back in time, they would have signed Darnold in retrospect. We all know that. So we need a quarterback that will go back, drop back, and sling the rock. That is going to be more so Tua than Kyler. That is going to be definitely Mac Jones, who adds a lot of the same dynamic that Kyler would bring. The grit, the ability to escape, the ability to throw on the run, the ability to make shift. That is all present in Malik Willis and also Kyler Murray. Now, in Mac Jones. Mac Jones and Malik Willis. I don't think Kyler's the best fit. I don't think Kyler ends up going to Minnesota. I'm merely just telling you that this report today is going to scare people into thinking that we're going to see rinse and repeat Arizona Cardinal usage and wide receiver production over in Minnesota. And I don't think that will be the case if, in fact, this ends up becoming our reality for Justin Jefferson. Everything gets better, period. If you move on and go with either, in this order, Mac Jones, Malik Willis, and then Tua, and then maybe Kyler, and there's some other options there. Everything is better for JJ. The question is, how many levels up does JJ climb? Does JJ go to his normal level with Mac Jones? Probably. You put Mac Jones in Minnesota, JJ becomes the player he's supposed to become, that we've been waiting for him to return to. Top 3-4 wide receiver, back to the first round, earns his first round value, double digit 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 touchdowns, 1,500 receiving yards, 115 to 120 receptions. That's what JJ does if we get our wish and Mac Jones lands in Minnesota. If we get the Kyler Murray landing spot in Minnesota, that is going to put JJ at probably something along the lines of a Nico Collins type production, which is still very, very good, much better than last year. But that is what Kyler does. Kyler can only get JJ so far back to normal. I think Tua, I think he could get him closer, but Mac Jones is really the lead answer here. And if we're talking Malik Willis, there's an unknown range that is a lot riskier, but does have the upside of a little bit above Tua and upside a lot below Tua. And probably Malik Willis has a floor of Kyler Murray. So that's why Malik Willis is a better option as well. What is my ultimate prediction? My ultimate prediction is that Mac Jones ends up being the quarterback for the Vikings. I think this is a lot of just smoke. I believe this is a lot. I'm not necessarily saying people are making this up for clicks or anything, because it does sound like that Kyler, has been speaking on this a little bit. So it's not like this is a fabricated answer by Kyler, but has it been run with a little too much today? Maybe. But at the end of the day, this is the only solution that brings JJ back to whole, back full circle to mid-round one value, and you feel very confident that he's earning mid-one round value. This is the answer. It's Mac Jones. It's not Kyler. Is Kyler likely to be a Viking? I don't think so. I think this is just mere buzz smoke season, and I think that there's an opportunity for the Vikings to look at this. I don't think it's outside the realm of possibility. I think that it has a 20% chance of happening. That's a pretty significant number, but I believe this is more of the 40-50% variety. This just comes down to what are the Vikings willing to spend to get Mac Jones on roster so that they can unlock JJ back to the JJ that we're used to, back to the JJ that's required in order for this team to win football games and make a playoff spot. This is going to be the requirement. If they can't get Mac, if Shanahan says no, the Vikings offer something that Shanahan shouldn't refuse, but does because Mac is his favorite quarterback. He's loved him for a while. There is a chance that we can't convince Shanahan to let go of Mac Jones and release him from his kung fu grip. There is a chance that the Vikings do have to go the route of Tua. They do have to go the route of Malik Willis. There is a chance that Malik Willis doesn't choose the Vikings. Let's say Mac Jones is not tradable. because Shanahan says no. Let's assume Malik Willis chooses the Dolphins, where he's got Green Bay ties through GM and coaching. And Malik Willis says, I'm comfortable here. They've made me feel real comfortable and confident that they're going to give me a full, fair chance to start for a whole year. I'm Malik Willis, and I'm going to the Miami Dolphins. Now we have no other choice. We can sit here and go, and the Vikings aren't going to be this situation. Like Evan, no offense. Evan saying the Vikings don't want Kyler, no way. This is kind of the way I think, Evan, but at the same time, if Willis is off the table and if Mac Jones is not tradable, what are your options, Evan? The options are Tua Tagovailoa. Your options are Kyler Murray. Your options are very limited if the two best options, Malik Willis goes to the Dolphins and Mac Jones is not available. This is why a 20%, 18% chance of Kyler Murray in Minnesota does still exist, because we can't control all those other variables. The right answer is Mac Jones. The elite answer is Mac Jones. The answer that puts JJ back on the map inside the top 5 wide receivers and inside the top 10 overall is Mac Jones. Mac Jones is the only true answer. Malik Willis is the ambiguous, also could be the answer, but it's more unknown. Those are the two answers. There's really nothing else that you can say. Vikings don't want Kyler. You don't even know that, Evan. It's probably not a good fit. But what other choice do they have? They're going to throw 9 back out there? Cousins is an option, but that would be a pretty bad option if you ask me. It'd be a pretty dumb option. It wouldn't put JJ where he needs to go. I mean, I don't think Cousins has enough left in the tank to return to his Minnesota Viking form. So is Kyler Murray a better option for this team to try and build something around? Because Kyler still has a little bit of that future value in what if they sculpt him right, mold him right. How many of us thought Daniel Jones was going to be as good as he was in Indy? Nobody. How many of us thought that Baker Mayfield would ever return to the form he returned to in 2024 under Liam Cohen after the disastrous career he had? Nobody. How many people thought that Sam Darnold would be good in Minnesota when he was there? Nobody. How many thought he'd be good in Seattle? A lot of people, because a lot of Seattle fans wanted to believe it. And a lot of people did believe what happened in Minnesota could be translated in the right system. So there were more believers in Darnold in Seattle, but there were very few believers of Darnold in Minnesota. So for anybody to suggest that Kyler can't return to an elite type of fantasy football quarterback and producer for the wide receiver that he has, that it's a little bit reckless to start drawing, these absolute conclusions when there's a lot of volatility, a lot of different variables at play, and the most elite wide receiver maybe in the league that returns to form with really any competent quarterback, and it's just a matter of getting one of these guys to play competent football. I'll open up the phone lines here in a second. Let me answer this super chat. I'll also go over to the Rumble side of the fence. I've got Bare Bones building Teflon Aldi. Bare Bones, appreciate you. Teflon, appreciate you. Aldi, appreciate you. Thank you. Subscribe on Rumble if you're new. Appreciate all my Rumblers over there doing it live. We've got one super chat from Jonathan. All super chats get standing ovations, so this one gets one right now. This one from Jonathan. Jonathan says, Dynasty, Superflex, trade away Stroud, Booty, 80 Mitchell, and a 27 mid-late first for JD5 and other QB. Mahomes is your other QB. Okay, so Superflex, trade away Stroud, Booty, 80 Mitchell, 27 mid-late first rounder. Of course. Of course you give up. That. First of all of that is not much to me. I mean, Stroud in a Superflex is hard to give away. But none of that there, even the mid to late first rounder for a Superflex top 5 potential quarterback in JD5, who I still believe in. Absolute home run. Easiest question I'll probably be asked all day. So smash the hell out of that trade. Phone lines are open. Dial in, dial in, dial in.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
All right, dial in. Let's hear what you got. What do you say? Who's the starting quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings in week 1? What's your order? And if, unfortunately, Mac Jones and Malik Willis are unavailable, who do you prefer? Do you prefer Kyler? I'd rather have Kyron than Kyler, actually, as the quarterback of just wildcat that thing. I believe in Kyron. I think Kyron, he's got a lightning bolt on his nose, the bridge of his nose. Who doesn't believe in Kyron that he could pull it off somehow? I believe in him. But anyway, you're going to have to think of those answers. Call in, dial in, let me know what you think, and we'll break it down. But you have to have an answer if those solutions aren't available. Bruce, you're live?
Hey, Smitty. I have a question. Aaron Rodgers never said he retired. Do you think they'll hold the door open for him for another year?
I mean, that could get kicked around. Do I think it's a likely situation? I think it's just going to be like last year where no one knows what's really true about it, and then the rumor floats around, and then we never see anything happen. But I don't necessarily think that we'll have, like, for sure, we might even have a for sure answer on all of that, But I think it'll definitely be floated around, as potential smoke. We just don't know. We won't know what's true in many of these cases, you know what I mean? And it's not like they're all going to be completely shot down. Like, we still will never really truly know how interested Aaron Rodgers was in the Vikings last year and how interested the Vikings were, because they both just played coy. If let's say Mac Jones is not available, and let's say Malik Willis signs with the Dolphins because of the ties to the Green Bay staff and GM, who do you want at that point? And I'll say J9, and I hope that's not your answer. J9, Kyler, and obviously Kyler would also, J9 would probably stay put, right? So you'd have J9 as well as an option. But Kyler, J9, or let's go Tua. Pick which one would you rather have as a Vikings fan?
Kyler.
Yeah.
I've always liked Kyler's style of play.
I know it's not the nicest thing to think about, given what he has not done for you lately, because that's going to be the thing that everybody turns to is, oh my God, Kyler didn't know how to use MHJ. Oh my God, Brissett totally unlocked not only Michael Wilson Jr., but unlocked McBride on an extremely aggressive, crazy level. But again, you can't necessarily look at all these things as if they're translatable entirely. Let me get Mac Jones's graphic. It's been long enough that I haven't had his graphic redone. I deleted it somehow, and now we finally have a Mac Jones graphic. So I think that Kyler gives you the best chance to potentially, I'd say potentially get a future going. You revamp the quarterback, Kyler Murray. He ends up being as good as we all thought he could be 2 years ago. We're less than 2 years removed from the entire world thinking Kyler Murray was going to be a top 5 fantasy football quarterback. Let's not pretend and kid ourselves that the entire fantasy football community as a whole wasn't really a year and a half ago promoting Kyler Murray as a top 5 quarterback, even through like week 5, 6, 7 of that 2024 season, where we thought that was going to happen. We even had people saying things like, he'll get there. Ziggy off. Ziggy, turn off. Ziggy, turn off. He infringes upon the privacy of the studio. He is a reckless man, the Zigmeister. And I might just dismantle him with a bat. I don't even know what I was saying. I don't even know what I was saying. This rude son of a bee interrupted me. What was I saying, Bruce?
Kyler was a top 5.
Oh, yeah.
A couple years
I'm not saying he returns to it. I'm just not. But to suggest it's not in the realm of possibility is about as reckless as expecting it. Let me just put it that way. But this is the answer. This is the only answer. It's Mac Jones or we really don't know what in the hell we're getting. And I'm not saying Mac Jones is a lock, but he looked pretty damn good in San Francisco. And I'll tell you what, the dog in him, the fight, the way this guy played with a mangled knee, and he just said, yes, sir, let me have another. Here's Brock Purdy with his itty bitty toe injury. And he's going, and he looks fine. Brock Purdy's about 101% in practice, dropping back. And they're like, yeah, he's not ready yet because this staff, Shanahan, John Lynch, Jed York, everybody involved was saying, Mac might be our guy. I don't know. What do we do? And behind the scenes, it was, let's just kind of extend Brock Purdy's healing, even though he's already ready and healthy. They show him in practice, drop him back perfectly fine. We need Brock to be healthier. Mac Jones's knees mangled, barely hanging on. And they're like, throw him back out there. Like, not worried about Mac, they're worried about Brock, they say. But they really just wanted to see if Mac Jones was their future. That's really what was happening. That's how good Mac was playing. And I think part of the reason why Shanahan might not trade him is because this is what Shanahan thought he would look like in his system back when he was a rookie, and he was the one reportedly out of the whole organization who wanted mixed players. I want this guy, I want that guy, I want this guy, I want that guy. And it was Shanahan that was like, I want Mac Jones. And so to watch Mac Jones play as good as Shanahan envisioned him to run his system, I don't know that he's going to be that eager to get rid of him, because his job isn't necessarily on the line right now. But if Purdy ends up turning into a pumpkin full-time, because he does that from time to time, this is Kyle Shanahan's savior. This is the guy that can, even if CMC gets injured and finally breaks down this year, which is very likely, Brock Purdy's going to turn into a pumpkin, because Brock doesn't do well without Christian McCaffrey. He barely does well without Kittle. Definitely does horribly without any sort of offensive line injuries. And so if you take CMC out of the equation, Brock Purdy has a real chance of turning into a pumpkin. This is the best chance to run the offense without Christian McCaffrey, is this guy. I'm very worried that that's what Shanahan's thinking, and that you could offer him the world and he'll say no. But good thing is he's not in full control. John Lynch is. There's other decision makers there. It's not always all on Shanny, clearly, or he would have drafted Mac Jones. It's kind of odd that Shanahan didn't kind of force John Lynch and everybody involved to go Mac Jones if that's who he wanted. He's the one creating and constructing the offense, and he couldn't get his way. That's the crazy part of that story, which makes me think part of it's true and part of Kyle Shanahan didn't. He did want Trey a little bit, because how is Shanahan going to allow everyone to bully him into an option? That's why I don't buy the whole story. But man, this is the answer right here. This guy turned Demarcus Robinson into a monster for a short period of time, enough for me to know he knows how to oversaturate one target. So this feeds into JJ returning to form. This guy's got the dog in him. This guy's got the ability to run around and extend the play. I admit I wasn't truly high on him coming out of college. I admit I wasn't high on him in New England. It was a disaster. But he does look very good right now. He feels Sam Darnold bounce back. He feels Daniel Jones bounce back. He feels like the guy that you, Baker Mayfield, that you write off and you see it and then you're like, I'm on board. Because the adversity he's gone through, and to look as good as he does, he's learned a lot too. He's got a lot of scars. His knee's probably a titanium replacement, and I think he's going to be phenomenal if they let him walk in a trade. Let him go in a trade. But I also believe that some of it will be down to what Mac wants, because there probably is some loyalty to it. Hey, I would love to go start. And they're like, okay, well, if the offer is something we can't refuse, we'll go ahead and abide by that. Won't send you somewhere horrible. We'd rather keep you. But if you do want to go start, we understand. That might be the case. It's business, so it's hard to know. But it's certainly something that might be considered. Go ahead real quickly, Bruce, and then I'll call back if you got another one. But end your call, then I'll go over to Husseini real quick.
All right, I have one more on that. Do you think the 49ers, just saying, would intrigue calls about Brock Purdy and then say, okay, we're going to roll with Mac, we're going to ship Brock?
No. I mean, no. And the dead cap on Brock's deal, let me just look at it. Brock Purdy contract. Actually, the Brock Purdy dead cap, if traded, would be roughly $69 to over $90 million, depending on the exact date and structure, like when the trade is executed upon. So $69 million to $90 million in dead cap. There's really no. The Niners are they can't afford doing something like that. Not to mention they're kind of in a, we're trying to win now, but we're also making moves to make sure that our future is protected. So they're not in the business of getting in that mess. Absolutely not. All right, call back, Bruce, if you got another one. Appreciate you.
Yep.
Later. Husseini, you're live.
Hey, Smitty.
Yo.
This one's high risk, high reward, and it's obviously probably not going to happen. But what do you think of well, your question was if Mac Jones and Malik Willis are not on the table, who you go with? What do you think of the Vikings calling Jerry Jones and saying, what's it going to take to get Joe Milton off your hands?
I don't think teams, I would like that. I love Joe Milton, but I don't think Joe Milton is viewed by other teams as a starting quarterback. Doesn't mean he can't get there. Doesn't mean that he can't rise up. If his only path to being an elite player in this league is that Dak gets injured massively, Milton steps in and ignites, and then the rest is history. That is the only way this is going to happen. He was already traded once. The likelihood of that was already slim, and for him to get moved again is very unlikely, especially as a starter or a player competing. He hasn't done anything since he's moved to Dallas to earn this anyway. That's just me being honest. I don't think it's fair because he every time he plays, he's playing with the lesser wide receivers. He's not playing with the starters, and he throws a lot of interceptions. When he gets out there, he throws a pick. But the thing about that is he throws such a hard football. These younger cats that don't know how to catch it, they're not Pickens and Lamb. The two most likely players to grab a football that Milton throws is probably Pickens and Lamb. And he's got both of them. I can't imagine how good he would be if he got to develop for a year. He'd make mistakes his first year. Look at Drake May. This is Drake May's second year, and he made tons of mistakes in the playoffs. And look at JD5's second year. Like, we can't sit here and start acting like when people say things like, oh, Milton would never be a good starter. Like, you sound ridiculous when you say that. Him playing would be him getting his rookie year type of play, and he'd make a lot of mistakes, but you'd have to judge him after a full year of playing before you start saying, you can't just expect him to walk in and compete with like guys like Drake May and JD5 and Caleb that have had 2 years of playing. So Milton is a rescue effort, and then once he gets in with his back, against the wall, nothing to worry about, we'll see what happens. But he's not getting traded. There's no team that sees him as a starter, unfortunately. Unless I'm a GM. But that's not going to happen.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, that's. I mean, that makes sense. I figured, I knew this is something that's out of the air, like something like a ball, like a home run type deal. But I just really love Joe Milton. Like you're saying, I agree. In college in Tennessee, he was slinging that thing like crazy, in his
Milrow too.
Arm power.
Milrow too.
Milrow too.
Now,
yes.
Milrow might generate a little more interest, but I still don't think a single team looks at Milrow or Milton and says, let's give up what would be required to get him, and let's put him in a position to start. I just think those two things don't line up at all, especially with the way NFL GMs think. It's very much like the movie Draft Day. Things are a lot more crazy, slow-moving, and almost dumb feeling in the way these teams and GMs operate than you would think. You would think it's more, they're on top of things, they're predictive. They're not. A lot of it is not predictive. A lot of it is, what have you already done? And that's why I always say, kind of like Moneyball in baseball, I think, the right, not any fantasy analyst, the right fantasy football mind would actually benefit a team because they think predictively. They think about what the potential outcome could be if this situation lined up with that. A lot of teams, GMs, and decision makers in the NFL, they don't think about that. A lot of gambling experts don't either, because I tell that story about how I went into a betting lounge during the pandemic when everybody was getting into what was that, Clubhouse? You remember Clubhouse? That audio, Twitter Spaces ended up kind of taking over Clubhouse, but Clubhouse was when Clubhouse first launched.
You have been invited to.
When Clubhouse, sorry, Husseini, call back again. When Clubhouse first launched, I went into a betting room. And these guys were just talking about who was going to win the Super Bowl. Did anybody have any good predictions? And I tell a story once in a while. And the guy, if you're watching right now and you're that guy, call into the show right now. But there was about 20 or so people in a room. And I turned my mic on and I said, hey, guys, if you want a good pick for a team that could win the division unexpectedly, it would be the Bengals. And they all just started laughing. The whole room was just clowning the hell out of me. And they're like, what makes you think the Bengals? You know what they did last year? And I'm like, last year. You guys are all thinking about last year. All of you are thinking about the moment. What are these teams done in the moment? You're not thinking about what happens if they draft Jamar Chase, which I believe this is right before the draft or it happened after, and how that's going to impact things. And so they're all laughing. They're like, get out of here, bro. And I remember one guy took my advice and he put money down on the Bengals to win the division, and he won a ton of money. And he rolled it into them winning the Super Bowl, and they lost in the Super Bowl, and he lost it all. But he'll come in and tell the story sometime. But he said that I was, for a long time, they kept mentioning my name in this chat. They're like, remember when he came in and told us? But that's the kind of thing that I feel like GMs don't do. And the reason why certain types of thinking in the NFL space will be very healthy, because you got to be able to look at things from that perspective. You got to be able to look at Joe Milton's upside, not what Joe Milton is right now. And I don't think, my point, Husseini, is that I don't think there's a single team out there that's going to look at Milton or Joe or Milroe in that regard. It's going to be, what have you done? If not, there's a reason you failed. Think of it for like AR5. Why is a team not going out there and saying, give me AR5, let me make him my Taysom Hill? Why is not one team doing that? Why are the Colts not doing that? It's crazy to me. A lot of people don't in the NFL space just don't think like that. It's kind of annoying. When I first saw the movie NFL Draft or Draft Day, I thought it was really stupid, and I thought it was not realistic, and it ends up, as I'm getting older and as I'm experiencing more and I've been doing this for 25 plus years now, it is so real. It is so realistic of how these GMs, owners, and decision makers think, talk, and communicate. It's very, very mundane. All right, Husseini, real quickly, another take real quick, and then I gotta jump to the next call.
No, I'm good, Smitty. I was just calling back because for some reason, it cut me off, but I'm good.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right, appreciate you, bro. Call back if you got another one.
Yeah.
All right. And their caller just hung up anyway. New Age, you may have called. Call in again if you want. You called in a minute ago, but there's some hold music or something. So New Age, call in again if you want to get in here. Let me go over to the Rumble real quickly. Nothing over there super chat wise, but I do see Aldi, Teflon, Bare Bones, and the boys over there. I'm sure New Age Outlaws over there as well. Is this New Age?
Yep.
What's up, New Age? What can I do for you? You're live.
I was going to say, how come nobody brings up Cousins going there? Because that's what I really feel is going to happen, because they don't want somebody for a long time. And I can see them taking Kurt and then having McCarthy as a backup.
Yeah, we did talk about it briefly just a few minutes ago, or I did. But it was very short, so you may have sneezed and missed it. But I did mention it. And there's a couple comments on it. It's certainly in the realm of possibility, but what I said was, I don't think he has remotely close to the same abilities left in the tank he did when he was in Minnesota. I think he's an okay option. He certainly knows that system. You certainly are going to enhance a quarterback's play in Minnesota if they're a pretty decent, capable down throw quarterback. And Cousins certainly brings that to the table. But we kind of haven't seen Cousins be the same in terms of, scoring, finding the end zone, pushing the ball down the field the same way. I don't know that we would get the response we want or the production out of JJ we want. I mean, London struggled so badly with Kirk Cousins. And you could say, well, maybe it's system, but Zach Robinson, is, in my opinion, and you're going to see that in Tampa, pretty good for getting the football down the field. And I just don't know that Kirk Cousins is the right man for the job. I think the game has definitely passed him by. Do I think that this would just end up having J9 start more games than we want midseason on? I think it would. And the odds of him getting injured again is, pretty high. Achilles tears on especially older players. You tear your other Achilles at some point. The Achilles tendons are oftentimes worn down at the same rate on both sides. They're kind of like, you could think of like your tires on your car or your brake pads in your car. They very much will have similar wear and tear. And so there's a lot of compensation on the, using the good leg. And if it's already a worn down Achilles, you usually rupture the other one. So like this guy is such a big candidate, Aaron Rodgers too, to re-tear. But I just don't think it's a smart move. Could it happen? So whether it should happen and whether it could happen are two different things though. I think there is a decent chance, like 10, 15% chance.
Because I don't think they're going to bring in anybody that's going to challenge J.
Why do you think that? Why do you think that? Why would they not want to get Mac Jones, do you think? I'm not saying you're wrong.
Because I don't think they want to look like a fool again, already letting Darnold go, and then they bring somebody in, and then they look like a fool on the draft pick. I just don't think they want to do that this year.
I don't think they're going to necessarily have the draft pick to get it done. So I think you're not wrong there in terms of they don't want to screw it up necessarily. But the Vikings at 18 probably won't have a shot. They can move up, but they probably won't have a shot at getting that significant player that would make them feel, ridiculous, like you're suggesting. But I think bringing Kirk Cousins in to start and then having to go back to J9 is probably more embarrassing than trading for Mac Jones, and Mac Jones, who everybody thinks look good, and then he doesn't do it somehow. And then you're like, okay, I mean, is it really that much different? You're giving up some draft capital, but what's it really going to be? You're not giving up a first rounder for Mac Jones. So is the draft capital you surrender for Mac Jones and he fails you going to be much different than going Kirk Cousins, him failing, and everybody goes, you're going back to J9? This is your off-season plan? I don't know. I don't know that I see it as that much different. I think Mac Jones, I mean, look, you're in a decision-making like perspective and situation, right? You can't be scared to make moves. Like, what are they going to do, Age? At some point, they got to pull the trigger on something. So if you're saying, oh, I don't think they want to look stupid, well, what about the next year? What will the move be, and will they be fearful to do that? Like, at some point, you got to do something. I don't think you can sit and be afraid of it. And nor do I think they are really necessarily afraid of making a move. Maybe some GMs are afraid to make moves. I'm not saying that there aren't. Joe Shine, I'm sure, was very, very scared to make moves after, that Barkley situation and then Danny Dimes not working out. Dable probably had some questions about himself after, and then going after Dart probably was a little bit scary given that he had failed on Danny Dimes. I'm sure there's some nerves that are involved, but I don't think you can worry about, what if we mess up and Mac's not him? The next year you're going to have to make some commitment, and I just think that at the end of the day, Mac is worth taking a gamble on. I just think he proved it. I mean, he looked like a dog, man. He looked really, really good in San Francisco. And Minnesota is the one team that is going to make a guy look a little bit better than he is, I think, the offense and scheme and everything.
Yeah, that's true. I just don't want them to have I don't need another person in NFC West or North to have a good quarterback.
Yeah,
it's one of them deals. But also, I was going to say, I'm not sure if my phone overheated, but you had a Rumble rant over there, if you got it or not. So.
Okay, let me see real quickly. Let me look on it. I don't see any Rumble rants. I don't think anything went through. But you can tell me what you said, and I'll answer it.
No, it wasn't me. It was H or somebody.
Oh, okay. Hold
I
on.
can't remember.
Maybe I had to refresh. Oh God, yeah, there it is. There it is. HK. I'm sorry. I've had the chat sitting there and it didn't refresh. Turbo gifted 5 memberships over on Rumble too. Thank you for telling me, New Age. 5 gifted memberships by Turbo. $5 super chat by HK. HK, you still here? I apologize, my boy. Let me see here. I think he's still here. I don't think this was too long ago, but I apologize for the wait. Purdy ain't going nowhere. Actually, that was a while ago because I was talking about Purdy a long time ago. Damn it. HK, you still here? I'm so sorry, bro. Damn. Turbo, thank you very much. HK's here. Thank God. HK, you get a standing ovation.
Let him cook.
And thank you. And thank you, New Age, for letting me know. HK, I apologize. Normally that doesn't happen. I'm getting a lot better. The stream ended, and I was able to continue it and reignite it and not have to go live again. It was just delayed, and then and that screwed up the live chat for me, and I had to refresh it. So I should have known to check that. Thank you. CD owner was afraid of Pickens' impact. I gave him the 1.3, the 2.3, and Parker Washington for him. Who's taking a lap on this one? Let me say it this way, because I just want to make it abundantly clear that I do really like Parker Washington, and he probably will be a moon man this year. I don't want you to think you made a huge mistake because of that, because guess CeeDee Lamb's still top 5 potential wide receiver. I do worry a little bit about CeeDee Lamb being ultra consistent with Pickens in town, and I do believe Pickens will sign a long-term deal with the Dallas Cowboys or play on the tag, and then he gets signed again, the next year, whatever. Regardless, I think it's an 80% chance he plays for the Cowboys. There's just a chance Jerry could screw it up, unravel it, do what he did with Parsons. No one thought Parsons was going to get traded at first. The 1.3 could be really good too. However, the landing spots for these 3 rookie wide receivers, and there really are 3 really, really good options. 2 of them are elite. 1 of them is solid, but not elite, in my opinion. I think Mekhi Lemon could get in the best spot and then be the best receiver of the bunch, but he's the least physically gifted of the 3. So I'm hoping he goes to the worst spot. I'm hoping he falls into this territory here. Where I don't know. Let's just put him right in. Let's put him right in, I guess, Indy for now. Or no, that's the Jets. Let's put him in, let's put him in Baltimore for now. Okay. So if Tyson goes to, let's say, the Cleveland Browns and Tate goes to the Commanders, you've got 2 pretty decent options, because I do think that Tyson will do well in Cleveland. I think he'll eat pretty well. It won't affect Fannin. In some ways help Fannin. Tate going to Washington, he's the main guy there. There's a lot of opportunity there. So if you got the 3 pick, Jeremiah Love goes 1, and then you got these 2 options here, or Jonah Coleman lands in an amazing spot as a running back, then that 1.3 could be pretty valuable. There's also a scenario, though, where the Giants take Tate, and that limits him. It also isn't what we want fully for Neighbors. It's really good for Dart. And then let's say Tyson, New Age, you can call back. I'm sorry to make you wait. You can definitely call back, bro. And then Tyson goes, let's say, to the Washington Commanders. Or no, I'm sorry. Tyson goes to the, where do we say? Oh, New Orleans Saints, where you got Olave. So that kind of caps Tyson a little bit. Tate gets capped by Neighbors, and these landing spots are putrid. Then all of a sudden, the 1.3 is not even that valuable. And you're throwing your arms up. So there's a world where this 1.3 is great, or it's not great. And then there's a world where Parker Washington's a top 15 wide receiver, or he's just 22 or 25. And there's a world where CeeDee Lamb is maybe 8, and then 6, and then 7, and then 3, and then 5, and he bounces all over. And then there's a world where CeeDee Lamb goes in the top 5 over and over and over and over again. Finishes in the top 5. I'd rather have CeeDee Lamb, but I do think it's an interesting offer, and I don't think either one of you should be taking a lap. I just think I would probably bank on CeeDee Lamb. Thank you very much for that super chat, HK. Hope that doesn't discourage you from doing it again. I didn't mean to make you wait so long. I just didn't see it. Turbo, thank you for the 5 gifted memberships. Guys, thank Turbo in the live chat over on Rumble if you got a gifted membership from him. This one from Corey over on YouTube. Corey, thank you for the super chat, young man. Hey, Smitty, off topic. Saw a vid about Nagy crushing value of dart neighbors. Scatterboo. Well, if you saw my video on that, that's what you're talking about. Does Callahan being there change your mind a little bit? As I said yesterday when we talked about the Callahan news very briefly on the news show yesterday, I said that it definitely makes you feel a little bit better, but at the same time, it's kind of like just, giving us a little bit of potential hope. How much Nagy gets his meat hooks into the situation is definitely going to impact. I would say that the talent of Dart will be stunted a little bit. He'll still be very good. He runs with his legs. He's going to make plays. He's going to score points. I think that Neighbors probably still survives pretty well. Is Neighbors or Scatterboo going to be playing at 100% capacity with Nagy there running things? No. Does that mean that they can't both be 89 or 91% of their capabilities with Nagy there? Certainly possible they can get in that territory. But if we're thinking this is the best you're ever going to see of Neighbors or the best that Scat can be, you're fooling yourself if you think Nagy's going to put the offense in good positions. The players are amazing. The players will still produce, but just think of it like Scat's getting 5.3 yards per carry with Dable or Miami Mike as his offensive coordinator. He's getting 5.4 rip, but with Nagy, he's getting 4.3. So he's going to be a lesser version of himself. He's going to produce less. He's going to have to do more do little with more. And he's going to have to potentially take on a little more injury risk because he's 4.3 yards per carry versus 5.5 is going to be you doing more work. You're trying to do more with less, and that's gonna hurt. Eventually, break you down more. Nagy's not good. This is anybody that thinks Nagy's great for the Giants. You just better hope that he has less control than we think. But you're talking about a head coach that is not going to play call in Harbaugh. So it is going to come down to Nagy. Now, maybe they rip Nagy's play calling duties midseason and everything's hunky-dory by week 8. Maybe Nagy gets fired, shockingly during the season, or it just lasts 1 year. And so in Dynasty, we're not all that concerned. But it certainly helps a little bit, Corey, to answer your question. But Callahan can't solve the problem that's really there, which the problem is they have an offensive coordinator that's calling plays that's trash. I mean, he's one of the worst coaches in the National Football League. The only one worse would be Adam Gase, who they're talking about joining the Chargers staff. But at least he's going to be holding an iPad, probably won't even have a parking spot. But still having him on the roster or the staff at all is just ridiculous for the Chargers. And then, of course, you've got a few others. It's Hackett and is a disaster as well in Arizona, but thank God he's not calling the plays. So there's that. No chance Nagy learned from his failures and picked up something good from Andy Reid. I mean, they got rid of him. He didn't move. It wasn't like, oh, we're so upset you're leaving, Nagy. Will you stay? They were like actively going to get Bieniemy and just kind of nudging Nagy out the door. And no, there's no chance he learned much really of anything because it's all Andy Reid. Bieniemy's, I don't know if you ever heard the story about Bieniemy when someone was trying to make an argument that he deserved a head coaching job. I think it was a beat reporter or somebody made the case that one time he went to Andy Reid during a game and told him the play they should run. They ran it and it worked. And we were like, okay, yeah. Sounds like he's real. One time he did that. Okay, sounds great. sounds like a play caller to me. Nagy's not doing much over there, and the fact that a lot of people have called it a soft fire, that they soft fired Nagy in KC, and you'll hear Husseini called in. He's a diehard Chiefs fan. Nobody liked Nagy in KC, and also you say did he learn anything? It's kind of ironic that once Nagy got on roster, Mahomes starts to tail off. So even though Reed was responsible, Nagy's a drag on the offense. The parts that Nagy does get his meat hooks into, that's just ironically when Mahomes fell off. So you could say what you want about Nagy. I'm not saying you, but anybody that wants to defend him. But Nagy is definitely not a good coach. I can tell you that right now. But people will defend him because they have an agenda. You know, they want him to be good. Here's Husseini saying that he sucks. All right, go ahead, New Age. I'm sorry about that. What else can I do for you, pal?
Oh, I was just going to let you know for them memberships on Rumble, there's 4 of them still sitting there. So if somebody went over to Rumble, as soon as you type a message about a minute or 2 after, whoever is not a member and communicates on the channel, they'll get the memberships.
Okay.
So that's how that works.
Okay. Guys, did you hear that? So if there are a couple of you that have memberships already that can't get the gifted ones from Turbo, but Turbo gifted 5 of them. And if you just comment, I knew that was the case. Somebody said earlier that they get randomly dished out, but you have to communicate. If you do something, you'll be granted one of those memberships. So get on over to the Rumble. Anybody on YouTube wants to grab one of those that are left right now, because the people talking right now already have one. You can hit this link right now, follow on Rumble while you're there, and then just comment real quick in the live chat on Rumble, and you should get one of those gifted memberships. Thank you again, hey HK, for dropping the Rumble rants, my boy. I appreciate you very much, and thank you for your patience. New Age, what else you got, real quick?
Not much. Nope. Just that's it, brother. So
all right,
I'll
man.
talk to you later.
Hey, appreciate you. Thanks for all your support, bro. Appreciate you. Later.
Oh yeah.
Rumble to the moon. All right, YouTubers, get on over there and grab one of those memberships. I think there are like 2 or 3 left. Nagy. Yeah, I don't know anybody. If anybody wants to call in and defend Nagy real quickly, go ahead. I'd love to hear it. Nagy wasn't anything in KC. That's why they got rid of him. They soft fired him. They said, hey, let's bring back Bieniemy because at least he's like a good cheerleader. You know, the team like Bieniemy. Bieniemy is good about like getting on the guys about, you know, hand placement and driving your leg into the ground and posture and form and getting, you know, in shape and all those things. Like that's what Bieniemy's in charge of essentially in KC, is doing things like that. Grunt work, being a coach. Hey, we're going to go do drills. Bieniemy's in charge. Drive. Like, that's what Bieniemy does. And the team seems to like him. The players love him. He's good for the morale. They love Bieniemy. All the players love Bieniemy. And that's what you need. Nobody like Nagy. Nagy's a nag. Listen to his name, Nagy. Who could like a guy named Matt Nagy? Sounds like I'm being nagged right now. You know, to do chores or vacuum the house or some shiat. I mean, just saying his name. You know? You're live again, New Age.
My bad. I was going to say, yeah, I think I want to defend Nagy here.
Oh, okay.
Okay, yeah. I think he should be the first person on Uranus board this year.
He is good at something. Planet Uranus.
So I was.
Let's see if we have anybody over there.
Off he goes to the planet known as Uranus.
You guys aren't going to like that Christian McCaffrey's on it. This is new. This is kind of our do not draft list, and I would not partake. We're definitely going to have to put Matt Nagy on it. Christian McCaffrey's going to be on it. It's just the way it is. You can get mad all you want. You can act like, oh, well, last year it didn't happen, Smitty. Last year. Remember when is the most boring form of conversation and communication. I really don't care about last year. Bieniemy was good for nothing. Yeah, we blitz him with 5 gifted memberships from Blitzen. Guys, thank Blitzen if you got a membership. Do it live. Say thank you. Tell Blitzen you appreciate him if you got him. Bruce is calling in one more time. We'll be back at midnight Eastern. We're not leaving yet, but we are starting to wrap up. So if you have a question, call in real quickly. Bruce, you're live.
Hey, Smitty, I got one for you on the quarterbacks and the Vikings. If the Colts re-sign Daniel Jones to a long-term deal, what do you think of them going after AR5?
But like I said, I don't know if you heard me earlier. What I was saying earlier is nobody's going after AR5. No one's going after AR5, even as a Taysom Hill. And so what I said earlier, you probably weren't here. I said, why? Why doesn't a team say, let's go get AR5 as a Taysom Hill? It's because the league is full of a bunch of mundane decision makers, bro. I have no idea. Yeah. Like, AR5 would be one of the first players I'd try and acquire as a GM, not as my starter, as a Taysom Hill, as just a playmaker, as a guy that could punch it into the end zone, guy we could do a tush push type, especially if they change the rules to tush push. They probably won't they can't eliminate the tush push entirely. They're going to eliminate certain aspects of what the tush push is today. So the tush push will be renamed something else. And it's gonna be this is gonna be a guy that fits the bill for the new version of the tush push.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. I was like, oh man, it's like he has so much. He reminds me of the guy you were talking about earlier, Milton. I was like, why wouldn't someone just go give him a chance?
Yeah. All right, Brucey. Appreciate you.
Yep.
Later, bro. All right, guys, we'll be back. Don't forget, we're going on Rumble in massive fashion.
Rumble.com/The Fantasy Football Show.
As soon as we get to mother freaking 10K, we're already climbing to about 3.5. As soon as we got to lower that music on that. As soon as we get to right at 10K, we're at about 3.5, and we're going fast. There's going to be an additional show on Rumble, an additional, and I don't know how many days a week. The goal is eventually to make it 5. The goal is to eventually make it like some sort of like noon, 1 hour noon show, 55 minutes exactly type of show on Rumble every day. That's the goal. At first, though, when we hit 10K, the show will launch, whether it's 1 day a week, 2 days a week, I don't know yet. And it'll be on Rumble. So just get excited, get ready, go over there, subscribe. And we'll see if we let it stream on YouTube as well at times or whatever. But the show will be a Rumble designed show. You understand what I'm saying? Willis is way overhyped. That says you, Big Prophet. Says you, Big Prophet. I mean, you're talking about beggars can't be choosers right now. We've got Mac Jones, we've got Malik Willis, we've got Kyler Murray, we've got Tua Tagovailoa. We've got a very limited number of quarterbacks. No one's out here claiming Malik Willis is a top 3 or 4 quarterback, but he is one of the very best options out there for a team to go try and do something and mix something up and bring in a competent quarterback. I mean, you got to also look at, like, what does he show you? What do your eyes tell you? Because when he plays football, he plays pretty damn good. And he doesn't just have one game. You're misremembering. I have Willis over Kyler. I do too. My order is going to be Mac Jones tier break. Malik Willis, maybe another tier break. And then Kyler, who has a chance to climb to the very top of the other 2 tiers. But he's going to start a lot lower because he's got a lot more to prove. Tua Tagovailoa might be better than Kyler for JJ, but does he win games? So how long does he live in Minnesota? Hard to say. See you all at midnight Eastern. Thank you all for the super chats. Appreciate every single one of you. Also, don't forget to get on over to stoicinnovations.com, by the way. stoicinnovations.com. I believe that link is in the description of the video. Let me just check and make sure that it's in the description of the video. Let me just see real quickly. I think I have it there. Let's see there. Where's Coreboard? Coreboard. I may need to add this to the link in the description, but Coreboard, go to stoicinnovations.com. Use code Smitty for 10% off. The Coreboard Lite. This is the Coreboard regular. They have a Coreboard XL for a lot taller, like 6'5", 6'7" people. But the Lite just came in. Now I'm 6'2". I'm 6'2", 6'2.5", and the Coreboard regular is perfect for me. But I wanted this Lite. They sent me the Lite. I got it right here. and I got to tell you, it just came in today. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. I set it right here. You can pick it up with one hand. And this even has stuff connected to it. It's lightweight. I mean, you could literally do curl with this bar here. But this bar, you hook your foot under the bar. You do sit-ups. You can do the dragon flags where you grab it like this on the back, and then you lift your legs up and you go straight up in the air. It's got you just set the thing down like this, and you can do overhead presses like this with this bar. You can do curls with these bad boys, and the resistance, there's different bands. You see all my bands right here, but this is one of the best products. It's the best home gym that I've ever had. It's fantastic. And you can get just the right resistance too. If you get like the 20s or 30s and you're in between, all you got to do is step forward or step back just to add a little more stretch to get that perfect resistance. And you can work your way up. StoicInnovations.com, code Smitty, core board, get you one. Tell them I sent you, or you just use the code that will tell them 10% off. This is a cheaper version too. It's like $100 or so less. I think it's like $299 or whatever, but it's so worth it. Best home gym I've ever used in my life. Truly. See you all at midnight. Oh, hold on. And just to give proper attention to the proper people, this right here, this Banff hammer, this also is one of my favorite things for working out. This is a 22 pound, 10 kg, 22 pound hammer. This is steel. It's steel up here, but rubber coated, so it's a little bit safer, although it still very much hurt. But where you choke up on it is how good of a workout you're going to get. And this is like a medicine ball on steroids. And you're just moving this hammer around. You can slam it into, and I've got one of these from a totally different company. This is called Hacks Fitness. And this is essentially replaces a big fat tire. And you sledgehammer this thing into this, and you do your workout outside, or you can do it in-house, but you might shake the walls. But this mixed with that, I'm going to be an absolute machine. And we're going to all do like a workout routine together. Not actually perform it together, but we'll choose something. You choose whatever you want it to be. We're going to reset the date. It was supposed to be New Year's resolution, and I kind of let it slip. That's okay. That's real. That's me being a human being. Let's reset it. Let's start on Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day, choose whatever you want. Choose walk 10,000 steps. Maybe you want to order one of these. Maybe you just want to work out. Maybe you want to drink water and quit drinking soda. Maybe you want to eat no sugar or candy or whatever. Pick whatever you want. We'll choose a 60-day challenge together starting on Valentine's Day. And mine's going to be a combination of using the Banff hammer, working out, and then running. And let's get to an ideal weight or calorie count or whatever. So on Valentine's Day, start trying to decide what it is you want to choose. On Valentine's Day, we start 60-day challenge. See you all at midnight Eastern. Check out the other sponsors below. Help support the channel. See you all later. Appreciate you. Big Profit, I know you like to be like contrarian up in here, no matter what we're talking about. But like Willis has had more than one good game. It wasn't all just about this year. All right, see you all later. Appreciate you. BAMFhammer.com, B-A-M-F. BAMFhammer, B-A-M-F, hammer.com. StoicInnovations.com. And then all these bad boys down below, tailbreaker.com, Miami Links to get your gold and silver chains and bracelets and jewelry. Gunner.com, code Smitty gets 15% off. And of course, Underdog promo code Smitty. If you want to draft tonight, they'll match your first deposit 50% all the way up to $1,000. Get on over to Underdog. fantasy.com. Use that link that's in the description of the video. And then, of course, 24/7, 365 live chat group, $10 a month, cancel anytime. That link is in the description as well, or go to patreon.com/the fantasy football show. If you want a year-round chat, 365, 24/7, that is the chat group. See you all tonight. Yeah, we do got to go over the bold predictions, Daniel. That's correct. Good call.